There is a moment in a man's life that never shows up in public. No one applauds it. No one congratulates him for it. And yet, it follows him for years. It happens in private, in silence, in intimacy. And in that moment, some men flinch, not because of danger, not because of pain, because of a thought they never learned how to defeat. What if this is wrong? That hesitation is quiet, microscopic, almost invisible. But it changes everything, because confidence is not declared, it is detected, and a woman always feels when a man pulls back. Most men never admit this fear exists. They dress it up as caution, as boundaries, as jokes. But it isn't preference, it's fear. And fear, when left unexamined, becomes identity. Tonight, I'm not here to excite you. I'm not here to shock you. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to dismantle the one misunderstanding that has quietly sabotaged more intimacy than disease, more confidence than failure, and more relationships than betrayal. And I will say this plainly. This conversation is not for boys. It is for men who can sit still in discomfort long enough to become dangerous to their own fear. Now listen carefully. The female body does not produce shame. It produces protection, balance, preparation, and connection. Vaginal fluids are not filth. They are not waste. They are not contamination. They are the result of one of the most precise biological systems in the human body, engineered to protect delicate tissue, regulate bacteria, and remove friction during intimacy. And yet, entire generations of men were taught to associate those fluids with danger, not through science, through silence, through locker room jokes, through pornography, through broken education, through never hearing the truth spoken out loud. So fear filled the gap, and fear became habit. Let me tell you something most men don't like to hear. You are not afraid of the fluid. You are afraid of what it represents. Trust, exposure, irreversibility, the point where performance ends and surrender begins. That is the real threat. Now let's strip this down to reality. With 2 tested partners, understand this. It is medically safe. There is no toxin. Your fear is not science. It is a ghost you allowed to live in the silence. What does exist is variation. Taste changes with hydration, with diet, with hormones, with stress, with medication. Some days neutral, some days metallic, some days sharp, some days soft. That is not pathology. That is biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. The mistake men make is not noticing the variation. The mistake is assuming that variation means something is wrong. That assumption is the fracture point. This is where boys panic. This is where men adapt. If there is ever a sudden, aggressive, unpleasant change paired with discomfort, itching, or strange discharge, then yes, attention is required. Not panic, attention. And what usually follows is not danger. It is imbalance, bacterial shifts, yeast overgrowth, treatable conditions. Not contamination, not failure, not shame. Just a system asking to be recalibrated. But here is the real battlefield. It is not taste. It is not smell. It is not fluid. It is the sentence men are terrified to say. Have you been tested? That question terrifies men more than disease ever has, because it threatens the illusion of effortless dominance. It forces vulnerability. It forces rejection. It exposes intent. And yet, every man who avoids that question is operating from weakness disguised as confidence. I once watched a man in his 60s unravel from anxiety after intimacy with a new partner. He couldn't sleep, couldn't focus, convinced one moment had destroyed his future. When he finally gathered the courage to suggest testing together, something unexpected happened. They didn't lose attraction, they gained trust. They didn't lose romance, they built security. That is the difference between fragile men and disciplined men. Fragile men protect their image. Disciplined men protect their reality. Now let's talk about the failure that ends intimacy instantly. Judgment, the flinch, the recoil, the joke disguised as defense, the comment disguised as control. Those moments do not just wound. They rewire memory. They teach a woman that her natural body is something that must be monitored, hidden, corrected. And once safety is removed from intimacy, desire collapses shortly after. Men think arousal dies from boredom. No. The truth? It dies from rejection masquerading as critique. Acceptance does something strange to a woman. It removes self-surveillance. And when self-surveillance disappears, presence takes over. When presence takes over, intensity deepens. That is physics. Now let me close the loop without hesitation. If both partners are tested and free from infection, yes, swallowing vaginal fluids is safe. Yes, variation in taste and smell is normal. Yes, fear dissolves when knowledge replaces mythology. But understand this, science alone will not save your intimacy. Biology does not teach leadership. Knowledge does not teach courage. That part is on you. Because intimacy does not reward the man who knows the most. It rewards the man who retreats the least. And here is the quiet truth many men never face until late in life. Every time you choose understanding over fear, every time you choose communication over silence, every time you choose acceptance over judgment, you are not just protecting your health. You are training your nervous system to remain steady under vulnerability. That is discipline. And discipline turns moments into memories instead of regrets. You are not too old for intimacy. You are only too practiced in hesitation. And hesitation is a habit, which means it can be broken. Now, the final question is not medical. It is personal. When the moment arrives again, will you disappear into fear? Or will you finally remain?